What's going on, guys? This is Rob and welcome back to Geek Culture Explained, and in this video we are talking about the Thunderbolts. Yes, I'm so excited to talk about the Thunderbolts. Been looking forward to it all week. The roster, the film, the whole nine yards. It all has me so excited. Whoa, bro.
What are y'all doing?
Tim, what are you doing here, man? I got a
fans.
video to record. Plus I got to do the integration for Scentbird.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we had that integration.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna get will you give me a cup of coffee?
Nope.
All right, you know what? Let's move this chair out of the way. Move this chair out of the way. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and close this thing. What's going on, y'all? It's Tim, Rob's twin brother. You guys remember me? I hid this away while Rob was upstairs this morning doing whatever it was that he was doing. You guys ever heard of Scentbird? I'm here to talk to you all about Scentbird. Let me tell you something, folks. Smelling good is an important thing. This one goes here. The green one goes there. The blue one goes there. I love Scentbird. Check this out. Scentbird's amazing. Ladies, gentlemen, it's for both of y'all, for the ladies and for the gents, because everybody likes to smell good, especially gentlemen. Gentlemen, ladies like a man that smells good. Smell good. Scentbird makes that happen. So as you guys know, you go to like the perfume counter or anything like that, they have perfume bottles and all that kind of stuff, and they cost a fortune. But for $17 a month, which is actually $7 for your first month, if you use my coupon code Geek Culture, which you'll find down in the comments section and the description of this video, and you can also upgrade to 2 to 3 cents a month if you choose to. But you can pay a monthly subscription fee, and that will get you different colognes and or perfumes. Now, my personal favorite is the Mercedes-Benz Select. I love this one the most because it just smells like money, man. That's what this one is. It smells like cash. So, ladies, you'll find this familiar, right? It's like perfume. You literally just twist the top and then you just spray it on. Almost smells so great right now. Gentlemen, you literally twist the top and that's it. The best thing about this, or the thing I love the most about this, is that it just fits in your pocket, right? So you can literally take it with you anywhere you want to go, right? You're just having like a guy's day and you're just going out and doing your thing or whatever, going to the bar with the guys later on. You can keep this with you, put it in your pocket. Ladies, if you're going out and about, you keep everything else in your purse. Might as well keep one of these too. So you can keep it with you and then spray a little perfume on if you feel like you need to. You just want to smell good. I don't know how the ladies do things, but nonetheless, I do love Scentbird. It's one of the best brands that I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's so convenient. So make sure you guys check those out. Again, like one of the ones we got was Modern Gentleman. They gave us one with a French name that I can't pronounce because I failed French. Rob failed French too. We're just not good at French. You can say stuff like parlez-vous français, but how are you all doing? How's everybody doing? Are you all doing good? Were you all excited about D23? Rob's still upstairs getting coffee. Were you all excited about D23? I was excited about D23. I absolutely loved it. I thought D23 was amazing. Rob was super hyped about it. He was really disappointed that there was no X-Men or Fantastic Four or what else was he complaining about? I don't know. There were a bunch of people who were upset about stuff. Deadpool, he wanted to see Deadpool, right? I guess you guys wanted to see Deadpool too. But I just want to check in on you. You guys know I like checking in on you from time to time, seeing how you guys are doing. So I'll let Rob get back. I know. I'll let Rob get back to doing his thing, whatever, just for good measure. How about that? So now you got to open your laptop again, and this is all your stuff to clean up. I will see you all later. It was good talking to you all again. Tim out.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Go.
What's going on, guys? This is Rob and welcome back to Geek Culture Explained. And as promised, we're covering all the news and stuff, really kind of wrapping up this week on Friday with everything going on regarding the events of the Thunderbolts reveal at D23. And I got to tell you guys, I am so excited about the Thunderbolts. Jesus, I am so hyped about this because I feel like this is Marvel Studios finally getting it right. So here's the question. Who are the Thunderbolts, right? What's the idea behind the Thunderbolts? So while Comics Explained will have a Thunderbolts Explained video around the time the movie comes out, the overall gist of this is that in the comics, the Thunderbolts initially started out in the aftermath of a story called Onslaught, which was kind of a soft reboot by Marvel, but the general idea was to essentially rework the entirety of basically all the heroes except for like X-Men and Spider-Man. But in their absence, when they were believed to have been dead, Baron Helmut Zemo formed a team called the Thunderbolts, where he tricked the public into thinking he was there to help, when in reality he was there for just world domination. Now, over the years, the Thunderbolts have basically shifted to where they've become more of like a Suicide Squad type team. Not exactly, right? You don't really replace the Thunderbolts with folks who die. It's one of those situations where the Thunderbolts are one part villain, one part anti-hero, who go on just a series of missions. Sometimes they're comedic, sometimes they're super serious, but they kind of operate as a sort of black ops team, kind of a wet work team. Now, of course, the roster has changed over the years of Marvel Comics depending on who it was that was writing the story, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe roster looks amazing. As soon as I saw that roster, I was like, this is going to be a phenomenal movie. The question is it going to feel like James Gunn's Suicide Squad? Is it going to have that kind of comedy, or is it going to be a darker tone film? Well, we won't really know until we get closer to the release and we see the trailer and more information about the movie starts coming out. But for those of you guys who didn't see D23, here's the roster for the Thunderbolts team. So right off the bat, we've got Val, who's played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You've seen her in like some post-credit scenes or different moments over the course of shows. So like she was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when she met with John Walker, US agent. She was in the Black Widow film, just different things along those lines, but she's gonna be the one that kind of put it together. After that, we get Ghost, and I'm so excited to see her return. She was in Ant-Man 2, and I loved her character. I'm so glad to see she's here, because one of the things that I was really worried about is that movie would end, and then like her role in the MCU would be the equivalent of like your voice just trailing off, right? She would just kind of go away, and then we just wouldn't see from her anymore or anything like that. And I'm so excited to see that she's returning here. Honestly, I still say to this day, just in terms of capabilities and appearance, she's one of the best villains the Marvel Cinematic Universe has ever come up with. Then of course we have Red Guardian. I have a feeling he's going to be the comedic relief on the team, right? He's going to be just the funny one. So in place of somebody like Deadpool or something along those lines, I love his character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was amazing in Black Widow too. Of course, then we get Yelena Belova, and she's going to be like the super serious one, right? The one that just can't take a joke. I mean, we did see some comedic elements of her in like Hawkeye, for example. She's not like super overly serious 100% of the time, but I don't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of jokes coming out of her. I think she's going to be the one that's like, this is all about business. Of course, we do get Bucky Barnes, and I'm curious about this because I don't know if Bucky Barnes is going to revert back to being an anti-hero, because I'm not gonna lie, Bucky was cool in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did love the buddy cop element between him and Sam Wilson, but I kind of miss like the villainous Bucky Barnes. I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one who's kind of like, I sort of miss Captain America 2, the Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes. I miss that guy. Or like the one from like Civil War. I miss that Bucky, and I'm kind of hoping we get a return to his character, but at the same time, I'm also struggling a little bit because I do love the character development that we got for him over the course of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'm kind of torn. Now that of course leads us into John Walker, US agent. Him, I'm more curious about than anybody else because he's already like the mentally unstable guy. I imagine a good part of his character will be like him trying to justify that like he's as good as Captain America. I imagine there might be just like some rifts between him and Bucky where Bucky's like, you're no Steve Rogers. And he's like, I know I'm not Steve Rogers. I'm better, you know, or something along those lines. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two of them square up once they're actually on a team, as opposed to like facing off against each other like they did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then of course, this leads us into what may very well be one of the more controversial, and I use the term controversial loosely, but what may very well be one of the more controversial choices with regards to character casting in the MCU, Taskmaster. Now, I still say that I love the Taskmaster concept. I love how it was implemented in Black Widow, but that not using Tony Masters and the Taskmaster school was a huge missed opportunity by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They may end up doing that with Taskmaster as it exists now. It is cool to see that like there's some history there between like Taskmaster project and the Black Widow project and that kind of stuff. I don't really know what direction they're gonna go in. I know a lot of people were hoping that Taskmaster, as she was presented in Black Widow, was like the precursor, the prototype for basically setting up Tony Masters, both in terms of what the MCU is shooting for, as well as like what was actually happening in the MCU continuity itself. But having said that, I'm not at all upset about it, because one of the things that I love the most about the character of Tony Masters, outside of like his own history, was the fact that he just learned to fight just like other people while he was watching them fight. He would memorize their moves. So to face off against Taskmaster was not to just fight him, it was to fight basically everybody who's good at hand-to-hand combat in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and in Marvel Comics. So I'm curious to see if there's any additions to the character of Taskmaster and Thunderbolts aside from what we saw in the Black Widow film. Has she, for example, been watching the footage on the bus fight between Shang-Chi and the forces of the Mandarin? If that's the case, now she's fighting like Shang-Chi. So it's going to be cool to see her kind of pull out this sort of Rolodex in terms of fighting styles regarding like all these different characters. It's one of the coolest things, because as these different characters like Iron Fist are reintroduced, which fingers crossed will not be the one that we saw on Netflix, that those are fighting styles that can be brought in for Taskmaster to use. But of course, this does also ask the question, is the roster going to stay stagnant? And I would say if future Marvel Cinematic Universe projects are going to tie into the Thunderbolts, that's how they're going to do it. By one reason or another, individuals are going to leave the Thunderbolts team. Now that may be because Ghost is a character that people just stop talking about after a while, so the Marvel Cinematic Universe kills her off because her popularity is waning. There's no reason to have her there anymore. It could be that Sebastian Stan's contract runs out, and just like Chris Evans as Captain America, he just kind of rides off into the sunset with a peaceful life, and we just never see or hear from him again. Whatever the case happens to be, I think that the roster of the Thunderbolts is actually going to be a rotating roster. I think it's going to be one of these things where the team stays the same name, but just different people come on, which is a genius maneuver, because there's a variety of characters they could use. A really good example of this is that in the more recent years, you actually had a team of Thunderbolts that was assembled by the Red Hulk Thunderbolt Ross, and that team was amazing. We actually just covered the first story arc for that over at Comics Explained, but it's Red Hulk, Deadpool, the Punisher, Elektra, Agent Venom. So like Flash Thompson, Spider-Man's high school bully when he basically joins the military and then gets the Venom symbiote at a future point in time. And more recently, or really at the end of that arc, the leader joined the team, who of course we're going to see in the new Captain America film. So if you guys want to see that, go check it out over at Comics Explained. It's really, really awesome. But like those characters for the most part don't really exist per se. I mean, they do, but they don't. We know that William Hurt, the late great William Hurt, he passed away recently, but he played Thunderbolt Ross in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I doubt they're going to roll the Red Hulk in just because of that. I think that some fans might not really be on par, or might not really be in favor of somebody outside of him playing Red Hulk, which I actually agree with. That's one of those rare instances where I'm just like, no, leave the character alone. Like, just leave Red Hulk out of it, even though it would be cool to see. So he wouldn't necessarily be part of the team. Having Deadpool on the Thunderbolts team, which we know he's coming to the MCU. Elektra's coming back in the Daredevil series. We know John Bernthal's Punisher is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's no indication that we're going to see Flash Thompson's Venom, and even then, the character of Venom is just a little murky in relation to how things stand between Sony and the MCU. But the point that I'm making here is there are characters that are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we could potentially see in the foreseeable future regarding the Thunderbolts roster. This team may very well be one of the most unique and exciting teams that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has put together in recent years. And that's really where I think that Thunderbolts will differentiate itself and potentially even become more interesting than the Avengers films. The Avengers films, we know that like Marvel's just going to keep making those. They're always going to be a mainstay. They're always going to have a special place in our hearts as MCU fans, because the first Avengers film is just the first major crossover film, so it's always going to have like a special spot. The X-Men are going to be cool, Fantastic Four are going to be cool, but I think that what's really going to differentiate the Thunderbolts again from any other project in the MCU is that the Thunderbolts name will always be there, but the roster will change relatively consistently. I think that's what's really going to make it unique. They may end up renaming the Avengers, right? I mean, in Marvel Comics, you got a bunch of different Avengers teams. You have the Avengers, you got the Mighty Avengers, the New Avengers, you got the Secret Avengers, so you have different names for that team out there, but you only ever have one Thunderbolts, even though the roster changes depending on who's writing the story and what's happening. And so it could be that by the time we get to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, it's New Avengers, Kang Dynasty, the Mighty Avengers, Secret Wars. But that's what I think will really make the Thunderbolts unique among the rest of the MCU projects. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. I want to know your all's thoughts. I want to know your all's thoughts on everything. everything regarding the Thunderbolts and the roster and what potential options we might see. And also make sure you guys check out Scentbird. Make sure you guys head over there. Make sure you guys use the discount code Geek Culture down in the comment section so you can make it $7 for your first month. And if you're interested, upgrade to 2 to 3 cents per month after that. So with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.